Thought I couldn't breathe without you. I'm inhaling. Thought I couldn't see without you. Perfect vision. Thought I couldn't last without you, but I'm lasting. Thought that I would die without you, but I'm living. Thought that I would fade without you, but I'm on top. Thought it would be over, but now, but it won't stop. Thought that I would self-destruct, but I'm still here. Even in my years to come, you still got me here. I'm a survivor.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of I Survived. I am your host, Rita Green, and I'm so excited about our special guest today, Danielle Norris. I'm so excited to have her. She is an amazing person. She has a lot of amazing things going on that we're going to talk about, and she has a powerful story of survival of many things. So we're going to jump right on in and welcome Danielle Norris, everyone. Welcome.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, so
Hey,
good to
Facebook.
see you.
And YouTube. It's so
Thank
good to
you.
be here.
Thank you. You look amazing. I'm so excited. You have such a story to share. So I'm so excited for everyone to hear how you have overcome so much, because your story is going to help a lot of people. So if you're watching, if you're tuning in now, please share this video, because a lot of powerful things are going to be said, and you never know what people are going through and what they need to hear. So please share. Again, welcome, Danielle. So let's just get right to it. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I am Danielle Norris, aka the Butterfly, and I am born and raised in Indianapolis. I'm a true blue 317 Napa Nuttin kind of girl. Um, Let me see. I am a very free spirit, very God-fearing mother of two, a grandmother. Can y'all believe it? A grandmother. A
Young look like
grandmother.
your mother.
Yes, honey, full time in that thing. Um, I am all things life and love and light. I am excited to be here. I am just really enjoying life. I read a post the other day and said, if you're not dead, then you should be enjoying life to the fullest. And so I am excited to be here and to be sharing my story with you guys. I am a therapist, a behavior therapist. That's what I do to pay the bills. But I also believe in living a life of love so you can love the life you live. So even if I wasn't paid to do that work, I would probably still be in a line of service to some capacity. So yeah, I'm a behavior therapist. I work for Pacers Behavior Services. I've been doing that for a while. And I'm just all things people and all things life and all things healing. It's just so ironic the way my life just kind of ended up and intertwined, and then I ended up in this field, and I really am all things healing and being healed. And that's it. That's a little
That
bit
is
about me.
so beautiful. Wow, I love it. And I love that you're a therapist. That just adds so much value because of what you've been through, and you're able to help others through similar situations too with the proper training. So that's beautiful. So
Yeah.
let's talk about some of the things that you have experienced and survived.
Well, I was just listening to that wonderful intro. Let me tell y'all, this I Survived series is thebomb.com. And that song and the way it slowed down and you can really take into those words, honey, let me tell you, that just gave me life.
Thank
Um,
you.
but that I have, believe it or not, I can pretty much check off been there and done that, been there and done that, and survive that,
Yeah.
and still living and thriving through that.
Yeah.
But I could probably say my I have a whole history of trauma. I was sexually assaulted by both family and close friends of my family. I could have my early memories at probably about 3 or 4. Um, I then began to experience death very firsthand. I had a cousin that was, we were 9 and we were in the swimming pool together and
Uh-huh.
she drowned. And I tried to save her, and my attempts you know, were unsuccessful, and she passed away. So I was 9 years old when I first started to experience with death, and I think those are the early onsets of
Yeah.
what kind of catapulted me into having into feeling lonely and depression and even suicidal ideations. I
Yeah.
did struggle with that up until from probably about like actually making attempts from the age of 12 or 13 to I didn't get that under control and really nip it in the bud until I was probably about 28. And it's still some days are better than others. It's not nothing that I'm just cured from that.
Yeah.
No, you struggle. It's a you have to be committed into doing the work
Right.
to to overcome those unhealthy thoughts and those emotions, whatever gets you in those places. So I've been through that.
Well, tell us a
I
little bit about your attempts. Like, what happened? How did you survive it?
so my first attempt, like I said, I was in middle school or high school, and I I had taken some pills. The school noticed some behavior, just me really kind of distancing myself, and I was a kind of a loner. But I didn't have any brothers and sisters. My brother is 10 years younger than me, so I was
Oh,
never clicked with. I was
yeah.
never that girl that was really clicky. I had a lot of friends and associates, but I was always kind of a loner. But my class, I was always very academically high achieving, and I credit that to my parents.
Mhm.
I'm so grateful for them and my upbringing. But my teachers noticed some differences in my behavior, and they contacted my mother. At that time, they were able to kind of put a plan together and really get me the help that I needed.
Right.
This is going to tell my age a little bit. Back in the day, it was a charter hospital.
Oh,
They
yeah.
had charter hospitals,
Yeah.
and I would I had to do an outpatient program through charter. I think I was about 13, 12 or 13 at that time, and it was good for that. What I learned very early on how to fake it till I make it, and how to
Mhm.
put on.
Yeah.
Just put on it, just let me smile, let me
Yeah.
just keep it rolling.
Yes.
Um, and so that's what I did. And I was able to, complete the program, regain my parents' trust, my family's trust. I'm in a better space, and, blah, blah, blah. That's what I did.
Right. Right.
So shortly after that, I was 15. I gave birth to my first daughter. So I was a teen parent. I
Wow.
dropped out of school,
Uh-huh.
and I had scholarships coming in, and I had no reason to drop out of school, but I did. And
Yeah.
I went and got my GED. I wanted to be the weed girl. I
Yeah.
wanted to sell weed. I
Yeah.
had an old school 9/8 on Trues and Bows, and that's what I
Yes.
wanted to
Come
do.
on, 9A.
Trues and Bows, and I was trying to get some datings, okay? But
Okay.
but that was that. That
Yeah.
is so not who I am anymore. Um, but that was just my mentality at that time. I couldn't see anything bigger for
Yeah.
my future or for
Mhm.
myself. I had very low, I still struggle with this today. People say that I'm beautiful and they call me pretty and things like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But, my self-esteem was kind of low.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything that my parents or my family or anybody had did. It was the things that I had been through and the things that I had internalized about myself just from the different traumas that I had been through.
Right.
So I went on I dropped out of school, got my GED, and I was just gonna be the weed girl and give me a dope man and be the weed girl, and
Make
this
that
was
money.
going to be it.
Right.
Um, but I still suffered with loneliness. I found myself having a problem being in relationships.
Mhm.
When I was 22, I met my son's father, and he was in the game, and he really loved me. I think the first man that really truly loved me. Um, but I didn't know how to receive that love.
Yeah.
And I just wanted us to hustle together, and yeah, we
Right.
got this little baby, and okay,
Yeah.
cool, let's rock. But that was it. It wasn't until he ended up catching a case and he went to jail. And he, before, as we were preparing for him to go, he said, Danielle, you got to go back to school.
Wow.
You too smart. You don't want you out here with these kids like that.
Wow.
You got to go to school. And I'm like, I ain't about to go to no school. This ain't that. And somebody told me that you can get a refund. I had never thought about school.
Right.
Somebody said you can get I mean, when I was in high school, I had, but at this point in my life, that was the furthest thing I was thinking about.
Until
And
somebody said
somebody,
you can get some money.
girl, you're gonna get a refund check.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, now money talk. Now what's up?
Well, might not sound so bad.
Yeah. So I ended up going to college and falling in love with my education all over again. And I actually went from a GED to a
Wow.
master's degree in psychology. And I am just so grateful to God. I'm grateful to my son's father that could see that in me
Yes.
at that time that I didn't even see in myself.
Yes. That is
Um,
beautiful.
it was, I was in relationships where I wanted to be loved and I wanted to be in a relationship, but I was the abuser. I would beat a man up, bro. I will still to this day, I will knock a what? And I did that. And so I have been in domestic issues.
Uh-huh.
And not so much where the man has always been abusive to me. And I've been in that side of it as well. But it has been me. I can sit here and say,
Yeah.
it has been me because I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to do anything but fight. I had been,
Yeah.
like I said, I had no brothers and sisters. So when it came time to fight, I knew how to fight for my own self and take care of
Absolutely.
myself.
Absolutely.
And that had become my way of life and way of survival. I'm gonna fight my way through this. I ain't no killer, but don't push me.
I like
But
fighting my way through that because that takes on a whole different spin though, because you are a fighter. But
yes,
absolutely keep going, yes.
yes. So fast forward this story. So I had my son when I was 22. So I have two children.
Okay.
Um, I was so depressed during that time that I was pregnant. Oh my
What
goodness.
made you depressed? What were you going through that?
First off, I had this man that loved me,
Hmm.
and I didn't know how to love him back.
Right. Okay.
And we were in a very fast-paced, kind of crazy
Mhm.
lifestyle.
Mhm.
And I already had a daughter. My children are 8 years apart. So I'm like, oh God. And when I had my daughter when I was 15, I was blessed and fortunate enough to have, my parents, my grandparents, everybody stepped in
The
and helped
village.
me with her. Yeah,
Right.
I have
Yes.
and to this day, I still have a great village.
Uh-huh.
Um, but here I was about to have this baby. I was sick during my pregnancy, like every day of the pregnancy.
Well,
The
people don't
daggone
understand how hard that is alone. Just carrying a baby, your emotions are everywhere, first of all. But then to
yes,
deal with depression on top of that, which is a very serious issue by itself. You had two whammies, and you still
two
had to go.
parents.
Whew,
And still have to raise a child
yeah,
and still try to fake it through this life like I'm
right,
okay, like
right.
everything is good. And it wasn't. I was in a very, very dark place.
Why
But
do
my
we
son,
do that? Why do we that's something that I mean, we all do it. I do it too, but it's something, it's the biggest weapon against ourselves when we smile and act like it's okay instead of saying I am not okay.
okay.
It's
Yes,
like we're taught in every, even for men who are taught, you can't show emotion, or
yes.
taught in the church, to show up and shout over yourself. We're taught in every aspect of our lives to just smile and keep on going. At work, you don't bring personal in. It's all about
Mhm.
business. Every aspect of our lives, we're taught that, so maybe that's
Yes.
why we do that. We fake it until we make it,
We
except when
fake
we
it
never
until we
make
make
it.
it. Yes,
Except when
yes.
we never make it.
And we never and some
Not faking.
and we realize we are under this misconception that we can just
Yeah.
keep on going and keep on
Right.
going. And at some point it's gonna have a
Weird
breaking point.
out.
It's
Yes.
going to wear you out and it's going to manifest itself in some area. And it was manifest like my house. I wouldn't let people come over and visit me because my house would be so dirty, like filthy, nasty.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even cleaning
Yeah.
up.
Mhm. That's a sign
And
of
at this
depression. Yeah.
time, during the course of this time, I had got after I had my son and everything, my weight was I was 336 pounds.
Wow.
Um, And so it was manifesting itself in so many different areas.
Yes,
I
yes.
couldn't have a good relationship. My health, like physically, I'm
Yeah.
336 pounds.
Wow.
It was just everything was going
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So let me see. So I had my son. So okay, so while I was pregnant with my son, actually, I had just got in a very, very dark, dark, dark place.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on my bed and my son's father talking to me, like, what's going on, just trying to feel me out. And I took a glass that I had been drinking out of, and I was so frustrated and angry, and not at anyone in particular, just
Mhm.
with myself,
Yeah.
and disappointed and sad, and just seeing no way. I crushed the glass in my hand, broke
Wow.
the glass, and I
Wow.
went on to cut myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had me, rushed to the hospital. And, he really talked to me of like, Danielle, you got so much more
Yeah.
to live for. You have, the whole world is, ahead of you. You got, and then he was the first person outside of my family that
Mhm.
really took interest in
Yeah.
in me and what
Well,
was
what
going
did
on
that
with
do
me.
for you? Because we do sometimes we have people around us that say, there's more to life, and then we hear it so much that it's just like, yeah, well, when is it going to happen? There's more in you. So while the father of your child is pulling all this out of you, when does it connect with you that, yeah, maybe I do have more to live? Or did it ever connect? Was it something that you had to go through? Because here it is, you just cut yourself on your way to
Hmm.
the hospital. At this point, you're not thinking or caring about what the good is. You have
Yeah,
the battle.
like
So at what point did your mind open to connect to your heart to say, yeah, maybe there is something more?
um when I seen him cry about me, the harm that
Yeah.
I could be doing to our son,
Yeah.
forget me. And I
Yeah.
have always loved my children to
Yes.
a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And so I had to, I really had to think about that. And while it connected, he planted the seed at that point,
Okay.
but it didn't start blooming yet. I
Right.
still went on to struggle with suicidal thoughts and ideations and just being in low places until I was about 28. And so that was at 22 when that happened. So when I was about 28,
Okay.
and he got, I just came to a point where I was by myself. He got sentenced away to like 15 years in prison, and here I am trying to still go to school and
Did that
do
make
all
it
these.
worse for you? Because here it is, this is the person that you said, this is really the first person that really loved you, and outside of your family and friends, he was your everything almost. Like he really was vested in you.
He was
So,
better than me, but he cut that out because when I say I
oh,
was
that's
crazy, he broke up with me. And he was like, my son was 3 years old, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing this no more." And
he said,
we have not. And
no.
today, my son is 19 now,
Uh-huh.
and we have not been back down that road since that
Wow.
day. He's
Uh-huh.
like, "No, I'm not. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to get yourself together,"
Yeah.
and all of this. And so then it became. I think that's when it really got real. That I have
Okay.
to do some things differently for myself,
Yes.
and that I'm not going to ever be in a functional relationship, or I can want love, but I'm not going to be able to receive the love until I do the work that I need to do for myself.
Ooh, that
But
is
I hadn't.
something I need everybody to hear. That you sometimes we are in a woo, that was powerful. We are in a place where, and you may want it, we want love, but we are so damaged from
Yes,
so many things, from abuse, from heartache, from failed relationships, to health. I mean, just so many, whatever your it is, if you
yes,
don't heal from that, you will not be open to receive a love, a perfect love. There could be a love that is perfect for you that you are
yes,
not able to experience because you're not healed. So you
yes.
got all this baggage, you got a whole backpack on, talking about you about to go skiing. How you gonna balance?
You can't.
You
You
can't do
can't,
it.
honey.
You
You
can't do it.
can't. You
Ooh, that
can't.
was everybody, please share this video. I need somebody to hear that. That was powerful. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and so he left me, but then another great component of our relationship is that he brought me into his family, and his mother loved me like I had never been loved before.
Wow.
And I don't know that if I always say, I don't know if I was brought into your life for me and you, but me and her, that
Oh,
was definitely, and I had my own mother, my own grandmother, not to
yeah,
discredit anything from them,
absolutely.
but just the way that she loved me. And it
Yeah.
was so pure, and her heart was just so genuine,
Yeah.
and she cared about me. And people start to, I think it was at that point that that I could really voice all the trauma that I had
Yeah.
been through
Yeah.
to that point.
Right.
And so we got to that point. So I'm getting in a better place, but I ain't all the way in a better place yet. But I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
You're on your way, and that's
I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
it's
I'm
progress.
working
You're
real.
making progress. Yes, Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, I agree. She is one of the most amazing people I have ever met in my life. But she said you cannot love if you are not healed.
And that's it.
We can shut the show down now. That was it. I mean, woo. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah.
So we're going on. I'm going on in life. I didn't got my I ended up, my son father went away to jail, so it was just me and my children. So I was like, I got to do this for them. I'm like I'm straddling the fence at
Yeah.
this point. Like, I want to get them a good life. I want to, see some things for them, but I'm still struggling with this, these dark thoughts.
Yeah.
Then I end up meeting this guy,
Mhm.
which went on to become my husband. And what I thought was love, and what I thought was, this really great connection with this person, and I'm finally here, and
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm rocking and rolling now. Girl, all we was doing was trading trauma.
What?
We was trauma bonded. We
Ooh.
was connecting that trauma. You done been through this, I done been through this, and
And
we
that's
meant to be together.
that is,
Honey,
isn't that something?
we was mixing all of our broken pieces
Yeah.
together to make more of a mess.
Oh goodness. And
And
a lot of times we confuse that broken part with love because we relate, but just because
yeah,
oh, that's powerful. I've been there before where you share commonalities in pain. So
yes,
you feed off of each other and you try to help each other through the moments, but you never come into wholeness of what you've experienced. So you never heal. So you end up dependent on each other.
that's it. It was
And
a
it just makes more
very
trauma.
codependent,
Yes.
toxic
Yeah.
relationship, and
Yeah.
it did more hurt.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say that he just hurt me. We did
Absolutely.
more hurt to each other that we didn't have to do. It
Absolutely.
was very and it was very heartbreaking because at
Yeah.
some level we did and we do love each other,
Yeah.
but it was just so toxic. And so I was already I had gotten up to 336 pounds.
Mhm.
And here I am thinking, okay, no, I'm 336 pounds, but I'm still good. I
Yeah.
got me somebody, and
Something.
it's all of this. But I was 336 pounds. He was cheating on me, like with
Mm.
people. The lady that sang at our wedding,
Yeah.
he was having an affair with her, and I found out like 3 weeks
Wait,
afterwards.
wait, hold on.
Honey, I didn't
So the
survive a
lady that
broken.
sung at your wedding,
Yes,
his
yes,
trifling was both of them.
and her, both of
They
them.
were
Yes,
sleeping. Now this was during. I mean, this was before y'all got married. After, during.
after we got married. They met during the process of us
Oh,
getting married and went on and started, this little thing. Girl, it was that. He
girl,
ended
where's
up,
she at? Where my hair tie? Where's she at, girl?
girl,
Where's
the
she at? Where?
Vaseline and all of that. But God is even
Wow.
good. God is even
Yeah.
good in
Yeah.
that I was able to, I had to see myself at my worst
Mm.
point where I was like, accepting all of this
Yeah.
stuff. And for what? Because you ain't all
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And
Even
this
if
ain't
you
all
are.
that. This what we got going on is cool,
Yeah.
but it ain't
It
even
ain't all
all that.
that. Even if it was, I love you, but I love me more.
And so this is where I
Mhm.
began to learn to start loving me.
Yes.
And I survived that hard. So he went on to have a baby in our marriage by somebody else. I um was pregnant by him 6 times, and God did
Mm.
not let me have not near none of them babies. And in
Mm.
the process of that, I was so depressed. Like, oh, I can't.
Yeah.
Every time I get to 3 or 4 months or 16 weeks, I miscarry. Whatever. And have had some abortions. I don't want to. I don't want to. I ain't above. I didn't been there and
There
done
are
that.
millions of people who have. I guarantee you, there's a high percentage of people watching that have to. So it's just your truth.
And
It's what
so
it is.
I had to get to that point where I had to. I actually seemed like I stepped out of myself and looked at myself like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm literally begging him, let's just make this work. I don't
Right.
care about the baby. I don't care about all the other stuff. Like, it was deep. It was serious.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we divorced in 2015.
So how long were you guys married?
2011 to
Wow.
2015.
Okay.
But we continue, even, and trust me, just because you divorce somebody, that don't mean you really through with them.
It does.
Because I still went through the process, through the motions.
Yeah.
We kick it here. I let him have his way with me. You call me at 2 o'clock in the morning. I open the door. I'm downstairs. I'm running down the stairs, opening the door. Just the fleshly part of me,
Right.
the part
Right.
of me that didn't know that I deserved so
That's
much
just
more.
real. It's just real. That's what we do. Is as not just as women, because men do it too, just from a different space.
Yeah.
But when we are in love, we become blind and experience
Yes.
things that we shouldn't and wouldn't if love wasn't a part. There's some things that we
Yes.
tolerate that we would never tolerate from somebody that we didn't like or know. So it's just a
Mhm.
part of human nature and being a woman. Yeah, you call me at 2 and I'm ready, you ready, let's go. I get it. And you
Come
guys are
on.
married, so it's easy, it's comfortable. So yeah,
Yes.
I get it. Yeah.
Yes. And so that was in 2015. We divorced, but we still kept a kind of a relationship going on.
Mhm.
2016, my daughter I think she was 22 at the time. She had given birth to my first grandson, Daniel Scott.
Yeah.
Um, and everything was grand and glorious. He was just
Mhm.
the most precious baby of all. Um, he passed away very abruptly. There's no cause on the death certificate. It says SIDS, but originally they said there's no cause. It was just natural causes.
How old was
So
he?
21 days. So check this out. So she went into labor early, but they were home. They had been home for about 3 weeks. I already had a vacation planned. And
Yeah.
so I left and I went away on vacation. And
Oh, I can imagine.
it was her first time being alone with the baby.
Right.
And I went away on vacation and I got a call. I was in the middle of an island and they said, Daniel didn't wake up. And I'm like, what do you mean Daniel didn't wake up? I'm thinking they're talking about somebody else. There's no way they're talking
Right.
about my grandbaby.
Baby, that's 3 weeks old.
That's 3 weeks old. They had just been to the doctor and had a perfect bill of health, just got shots and everything was all good. But they said, he didn't wake up. I was in the middle of an island. I had to charter a boat to the big island, no, to a small island, then get a
Mm.
helicopter to the big island, then get a plane back to the States so I can be here and funeralize my grandson.
Wait a minute. So
Um,
you're on vacation.
yes.
No one is ever thinking that anything is going to go wrong on vacation. You're enjoying yourself, beautiful weather, wonderful
Hmm.
time. So you go from an extreme high to an extreme low.
Yes.
You get a
Yes.
call that says your three week grandbaby did not wake up.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What were you feeling, especially that during that commute? You said you had to take a boat and then a helicopter. What were you thinking? What were you feeling?
I thought that, at this point, I done been through everything, God. This is it. You trying to
Yeah,
break me. Go
yeah,
ahead. I'm done.
nothing
I'm
else.
done at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
It's cool. Gone out. It's
yeah,
nothing else. I don't
right.
even want to live. I have to come
Mm.
home and hug my 22-year-old daughter
Oh my God.
and comfort her through this, and she doesn't understand nothing that's going on. Um, so I was at another low that got me back to a low place. I remember getting back to that place like I don't want to live. I started smoking cigarettes, and I ain't never smoked a cigarette
Uh-huh.
a day in my life, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
smoking cigarettes like
right.
just crazy.
Uh-huh.
Just I believe that I've had a complete nervous breakdown. I
Yeah.
sold everything in my house, moved to Florida for 6 months, and lived on the beach. Took my daughter, my dog, and my son, and we moved and left and went to Florida.
So how do you get through that process? I mean, this is your first grandbaby?
My first grandbaby.
I have a granddaughter, and
Yeah. And he
there's
was my namesake. His name was Daniel.
I heard when you said that. That's why I smiled so big. I got
Hmm.
that. I caught that. But as a first time there's something so different and special about a grandbaby. I mean, your kids even get on pause a little bit
All
for
the
a
way.
grandbaby.
Pause, mute, everything.
Every, mute everything. Boop. But the grandbabies are so precious. Babies, period, are precious. So
Yes.
here you are with a 3-week-old grandbaby.
And so we weren't prepared, like life insurance wise. Like I had to come home and out of pocket a funeral for my grandson, and still parents, and then still take care of myself. And I'm kind of like the glue for my family.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of things going on, and so I just said, you know what, we out of here. I've loaded up my car, and we've moved to Florida and
What
lived
made
on the
you
beach.
want to move just to get away? Just I can't
He
handle
passed
it
away in
anymore.
my house.
Oh.
And so my daughter to come home every day, I'm one of those over the top kind of people. So I had the nursery ready, his room was a whole, it was a big ordeal for
Right.
him to be born.
Yeah.
It was, we couldn't stay in sometimes in order to heal, you got to go in a different environment.
Change your skin.
Sometimes I know in recovery, they say you have to change your people, places, and things. And in order for this type of healing to occur and for us to really dive into this grieving process, we couldn't be in that house.
Yeah.
It was just too much. It was too many memories, too many, things that we were looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like that was supposed to be my forever home. And
Right.
I just said, I can't do this. And it was too hard on my children. Not only did my daughter suffer, at the time, I think my son was maybe 12. And so he had to, understand,
Yeah.
what death is. And
12-year-old
yeah.
to understand. Dr. LaJoy said, just curious, was the baby vaccinated? Actually, did you say the baby had just?
The baby had just, let me tell y'all, she inboxed me on Messenger. I was on that night before that I got the call the next morning. And she's like, Mama, we went to the doctor. He gained 2 pounds. He got all his shots. Everything was good. So I'm like, okay, good, cool. Make sure you give him some Tylenol so he don't be fussy, and you get you some rest. He'll probably sleep. You get you some rest and all of that. And the next morning, he didn't wake up. Yes, he was
This is the next
vaccinated.
morning after the vaccine.
Yes. Yes, but they don't, trust me, my mind, because I needed to find some,
yeah.
Yeah, I went through all of this. I mean, I even went through a time where I was angry at her, like,
Yeah.
why didn't you, but it was nothing, it was just part of God's plan.
But that's the thing. That's a tricky thing about grief.
Yes.
And loss. You need an outlet. So you search for something to take the place of your anger and to make it make sense. There are so many people grieving right now from the loss of a loved one. And it is a big thing. And a lot of people don't understand that it comes in waves, it comes in steps. There's different steps and levels of grief. And it's just hard. So that makes total sense how you were angry at this or angry at that.
I was angry at that house. I didn't want to be in that house no more.
Yeah,
her and our relationship got kind of distant because I'm angry at you, her boyfriend. I'm angry at everybody.
Yeah.
But I still have to smile and take care of everybody. And I maybe took 2 weeks off of work and then, got right back in it. I still had to take care of my son, still had to take care of myself. So the party, life still goes on. And so just trying to figure out how to fit in this life that still has to go on after suffering that. Wow. So that was in 2016.
Okay.
So 2017, I began to get really sick. So my weight I probably gained about 20 or 30 more pounds between 16 and 17 in this grieving process because you know how we do. We when we sad, we eat. When we happy, we eat. We eat. We eat. We eat. So that's what I was doing, and I was eating good. So I had gained probably about 30 more pounds. So I had, but my health has started to get. I had real bad heartburn, acid reflux, and just all of this stuff going on. I mean, I was really hefty, and I went to the doctor, and they said, "Well, you got a hiatal hernia, and it's sitting up in your chest cavity." We can fix it. It's it's kind of tricky where your hernia is sitting, but we can fix it. You'll have to go see a couple of different specialists to see if they can get in that tight space. So I
Mhm.
said, okay, cool. It's an in and out surgery, same day surgery. You'll be right back home. It's just a hernia. We do it all the time. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I went to see 3 different specialists
Mhm.
that could get in this tight spot because normally a hernia sits like just below your rib cage, like at the top of your stomach or something, but
Okay.
mine sat actually in my rib cage.
Wow.
I had to go see a couple different specialists. Finally, the specialist that I seen, he said he was a bariatric doctor,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Oh yeah, I can do that. I get in those tight places all the time when I do these surgeries. We'll schedule you, in and out, and we'll take care of you." Cool, sweet. I go in June the 17th, June the June or July 16th or 17th. I go in to have this same day procedure done. Um, and during the procedure, the doctor nicked my spleen and punctured my esophagus. Sewed me up and sent me actually began to perform the bariatric surgery on me and realized I wasn't a bariatric client.
Wait a minute.
Told
So
my mother, oops, sent me home. Well, I was home for 2 days and my skin literally turned green. I had an odor that was so foul.
wow.
My kids called my mom, was like, you need to get over here. Something's wrong with mama. And they took me back to the hospital, and I had become septic because I had the Nick spleen and the
Yeah.
punctured esophagus, and all this stuff was going wrong in the inside of me. So when they went in to repair what they had messed
Mhm.
up,
Right.
I fell into a coma.
Wow.
I could not get up out of the coma. They would try to take me off. I was on life support. They would try to take me off the breathing machine, and I would, begin to flatline. Like my family came to the hospital several times to say goodbye to me.
Wow.
Um, However, my mother, let me tell you, if you got a praying mama and praying
Ooh,
grandmama,
don't I know it?
um,
Don't I
they
know it?
would not, they would not, my mother would never let them take. I didn't even, let me tell y'all this. I didn't even have no insurance because I'm an independent contractor.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
independent contractor, we out here.
That's
We for the streets, really. Uh, I didn't even have any medical insurance, but my mother would not let them take me off
yeah.
of
Life
life
support.
support.
Mhm.
She was very adamant. She came in here this way, and she gonna leave out this way.
Wow.
And that was probably the roughest 4 months that my family went through. It was actually my mother wouldn't make any decisions unless my family was in agreement on what was going to go on. So
Wow.
one day my daughter would be in agreement and my son be like, nah. And then my mom would say, okay, this is what we're doing. And then my daughter be like, nah. And on this, oh, I didn't even tell y'all that at this time my daughter was pregnant again.
Wow.
So,
Oh, while you
okay,
were
while
having
I was
surgery?
in the yes, and end up going into labor while I was in the coma. So I lost my first grandson, and then she gave birth while I was in a coma. At one point in time, my mom said the babies was on one floor, she was on
Mhm.
one floor, and I was on another floor.
Wow.
Um,
That's crazy.
that's crazy.
And
So
so you were in a coma, and what sent you into a coma after this was after you went
after
back
they went in,
home to repair?
yeah, after they went in to repair what they had damaged, um,
Ooh.
I got ill. I got septic. So I had all this infection just going through my body, and that really in itself can kill you. Um,
Yeah, I
so
experienced that. That's horrible. And I'm mad about the fact you said the doctor said oops.
oops.
See,
Yeah,
now
my
this is
mother.
live, and I can't say what I want to say,
Don't
but
say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
woo,
Don't say
you
it.
don't say
But let
oops.
me. He said oops to my mother, and my mother don't. She one of them mama bears. She don't
Is
play
the
that type
doctor
of stuff.
alive?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to walk away. You because right, your mother. Okay, so this is you're coming to me about my child. It's something different. If it was me, I may excuse you because I really don't feel good. But you're coming to me about my baby,
Yes.
and
Yes,
your
Rita.
tail said,
Yes.
"Oops."
said, oops.
Ooh.
So let me go on and tell you guys this. So I was in a coma for like 4 months. Like I had to learn, I lost all the muscle mass in my body. I had to learn how to walk and talk again. You know, your tongue is a muscle actually.
Yes, it
And
is.
so I didn't even have enough strength to talk. So I
Yeah.
had, and I suffered from what was called vocal paralysis.
Mm.
But I have to take time, and I don't know that this is I don't claim to be very religious, but I'm very spiritual.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
know that God had to get the glory in this. I believe, even though all this crazy stuff went on,
Yeah.
I believe that God really reset my life, putting me in that coma, and it allowed me to get some much needed rest because all of my life had been trauma after trauma after
Mm.
trauma after trauma after
Ooh.
trauma.
Ooh, that
And then
gives me
God, it
chills.
was nothing but God. I do believe that I had to sit down with God, actually, the devil and God
Yeah,
in the coma. And
yeah.
I tell people this, and they like, girl, you crazy. I don't know that it was crazy, but I know what happened.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy. I was on life support, experienced that, and I definitely had an encounter. So I believe you fully.
I was I believe I had to sit down with God, and we had to come to some agreements that if given a second chance, like I had that old man had to die.
Yeah.
That old man, those old ways, everything that how I
Ooh.
was living my life
Oh
had
my
to die
God.
immediately for me to get a second chance at life. And not only to have a second chance at life, but to live this life that God had in store for me. This
Yeah.
life of abundance, this life of love and happiness and joy. I didn't have to, girl, when I came back, this is how good God is. When I came back from the coma, when I woke up from the coma, I thought it was 1993. So
Wow.
any trauma that had happened to me between 93 and then, I really, God is so funny, and he the way he do things, he
Wow.
let me remember what he wanted me to remember, and what he wanted me to forget. He let me forget what he wanted me to let go. You see, sometimes we can't let go of things, and
Mm.
God has to come on in
Ooh,
and
on the
shake
talk.
that thing away from us. And
Yeah.
so I believe that he came in, and the things that I wouldn't let go of, he literally snatched them away from me and said,
Ooh.
Danielle, this is going to be your second shot. And
Mm.
in order to live this life and live this life that I have for you, you're going to need to do this, 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 and this. And that old man is going to definitely have to die. And when I woke,
How long were you in a coma?
4 months.
4 months.
So they had told my mother that
Yeah, I was going to ask.
even
Yeah.
if I was to live, that my quality of life would not be the same.
Right. Yeah.
And it's so funny because I know what they meant. They thought that I was going to be in a like this vegetative
Educated
state.
state.
But
Yeah.
oh, honey, when you got God that's really working this thing out, when this is above the doctors and above anybody else,
Ooh, yes,
they were
ma'am.
right. My quality of
Yes,
life was not
ma'am.
going to be the same. My quality of life has been so much better than what I could ever remember it being. So like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, they called my family together and said, you know what, we're gonna have to take her off this machine. We're gonna put a
Yeah.
trach in her throat,
Yeah.
and we're all of our efforts here is done. And
Yeah.
so my son at that time, he was 14. He said, just can we just wait till the weekend? And if Mama still need this on Monday, I will agree to it. So my mother like, that's it. We're gonna wait till the weekend. Do you know that I woke up and started breathing on my own on a Sunday? On a Sunday. Woke
Girl,
up and started breathing on my own.
it's
And
live.
ever since then, it has been an uphill journey with me and God, with me in this second chance at life, with me understanding my story of survival, my testimony, and how everything that the devil has tried
Woo.
to use to take me out. It has just catapulted me to another level of survival. So
Yeah.
I absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is nothing too big for God.
Mm.
And you can survive if you have the will to survive and you want to survive, you can survive just about anything.
Wow. What, right. What a testimony. Somebody said, what a testimony. Wow. So cause I'm trying to get through this live without hitting the pause button and start shouting. Woo! Stacy, don't start. Stacy said when Sunday,
When
listen,
Sunday
take me
comes,
in and I ain't going. Stacy, sit down.
see, I know, Gina. Hallelujah.
Oh, when Sunday comes, woo! That's the name of your next book. When Sunday comes.
When
So
Sunday
let's
comes.
unpack this a little bit. First of all, 4 months in a
4
coma.
months in a coma.
Now, people usually don't stay. Even the doctors and the medical staff, the hospital, they don't even allow you to stay on life support that long.
That's why I'm telling you, it's something so much bigger than me. I
Yeah,
didn't even have a lick of insurance. When I tell y'all, I went in the
no
hospital broke
insurance.
with no insurance. That's
No,
how I
it don't
know.
happen. It does not happen. Wow. And then I can't even imagine the thoughts you had mentioned. Your mom. Woo!
I
I can
remember as I was
imagine.
coming to, I remember I when I woke up from the coma, my mother is so great. It's truly my best friend.
Yeah.
She while I was in the hospital, she would bring my music in, and she knows that I like music. So she said she would have concerts with me every day while I was in the hospital. When I woke up from the coma, um, Anthony, what is it?
Well,
Anthony Brown. You thought I was worth saving. That song was
oh,
playing. That song, and that has been my song ever since the day that I woke up. That song
listen.
was on, but I remember my mother. I would go in and out as the days
Mhm.
came, and I was trying to wake up on my own. I could hear her like weeping at my bedside, just
Mm.
wake up, please, come on, please, 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 please,
Wow.
please. And so it's something about I could hear my grandmother praying. And even once I did wake up and I was so weak and so I was malnourished while I was in the coma, I called Mercer. I was
Yeah.
my kidneys failed like 3 times. I had like 16 or 17 blood transfusions.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong. But the one thing that did go right was that God stepped in and he turned what the devil thought was going to be for my downfall actually turned around and made it for my good. So this is another tidbit of the story. So when my daughter was having in labor while I was in the coma, did you know that God gave us a set of twins? I had just lost my grandson and her second delivery, she
Oh,
delivered two baby boys.
wow.
So we survived that grief, even though we still have our days or we are sad about him. But God
Yeah.
gave us double for our trouble. He said in His Word, that, it's all written. It ain't nothing new under the sun.
No.
So even in that, He got the glory. Even in that, I got my grandsons today. So ever since I woke up, I made a pact with God that I would live a very healthy lifestyle.
Mhm.
And, not only would I live a healthy lifestyle, I would encourage everybody else to live a healthy lifestyle. So
Yeah.
since I learned how to walk again in 2000, that happened in 2017,
Did you have to go
2018.
through therapy for that to
Oh,
happen?
therapy,
Yeah.
yes. I still
Yeah.
have muscle spasms to this
Right.
day
Right. Right.
that, just break me down sometime in my
So,
legs.
so when you were in a coma, so 4 months, and again, I praise your mother because that is a tough spot to be in. The doctors are telling you, hey,
Mhm.
it's been a week now, it's been a
Yes.
month now, it's been 2 months, it's been 4 months. I can only imagine her going through and thinking, is she going to come back? Is it time? And all the prayers and the travailing she had to do.
Yes.
Amazing. So, when you were coming out of a coma, and I don't know if you guys saw her picture, we do. I think we're going to post it up again. But when you look at this picture, oh my God, I just want you guys to see the description behind what she is talking about. We are literally looking at death, literally.
Yes. Yes.
And then we're looking at you talking to us now, healthy,
Yes.
alive, beautiful, lively, just healed, amazing. And
Mhm.
this transition from death to life, you said you had some encounters, with God and the devil. So
Yes.
walk us through some of that. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience during that time?
I really believe that like we came to like a sit down. It sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but I can recant the same story, the same details. We came to like a sit down, like at the table. We had to come to a meeting at the table, like, hey, big dog,
Right.
let's get this together. I ain't ready, but if
Yeah.
if it's my time, then don't let my family keep suffering through this.
And what
Let
was
me
the
just
enemy
go ahead.
whispering in your ear during this time?
What was who?
The
What was God?
enemy.
The
Yeah.
enemy. Oh, it's over. You're done. You're done. You come on with me. Matter of fact, his name was Diablo.
Wow.
Um, come on with me. Come
And
on with me. I
Diablo,
seen
that means hot in Spanish.
it. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I haven't researched it because I don't even want to know. But that's the
Wow.
that is the name that he came to me as. Um, and it was like, it's over. You're done. You're done. Like I was seeing it was just it was
Go
deep.
ahead.
But
You were seeing what?
it seemed like I could see outside my body. Like I said,
Yeah.
I could hear my mother
Right.
praying
Yeah.
and crying.
Yeah.
I remember my cousins, and my family is so great. My cousins visited me like every day, and they wouldn't leave my bedside. But one of my cousins said that he came to see me, and he said, "You got to wake up. Destiny had them babies, and they need you."
Wow.
And they said, while I would have been unresponsive all this time, the tears started to come down my face. So I don't know. I
Ooh, that's
just believe
brand
that
new. Woo.
I was, in between realms. And it wasn't until that I really committed myself to God that, yes, God, whatever you want me to do, whatever you need me to do, whatever parts of me need to die, if this whole man of me need to die for you to raise me back up, I surrender. I- Whatever has to happen.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
that's what happened. That's how I survived death. I've heard a lot of people have said, "Oh, she went and had that surgery." I didn't go to have the surgery. I
Right.
didn't.
Yeah.
But and then after I woke up from the coma, I still had to have like 26 procedures
Mhm.
afterwards to get me back up and going and be able to eat it. I was on being fed through a tube
Too. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
for months. I
Yeah.
went home on all kind of
TPN, I
tubes.
think is what it's called.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I went home on all kind of bags and tubes and nurses coming to my house and all of this stuff. But God just had a different plan. I went home on depression medication
Yeah.
because imagine me waking up from this coma. I'm like, what is I couldn't remember half the stuff. Like I didn't even remember my son. I didn't even remember giving birth to my son.
Wow.
He was post 1993. I remember my daughter, but I didn't really remember my son. And me and my son are really, really close. And so
Yeah.
even that took a big strain on
Yeah.
our relationship. And
I can
so, but
see
God is even good in that because we got to know each other right where we are now.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good.
Wow. And my producer just sent me a note that said Diablo is actually devil in Spanish. That is
Yeah.
crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy. And
Yeah.
so you had and that is, I think that's very important. And everybody please share this video if you haven't already. Because I think it's important that people hear this. You said that, the enemy came as Diablo and said, it's over. How many times, even just thinking about where we are right now, if you think about where you are right now, how many times have you heard it's over? How many times have we told ourselves that? How many times has the enemy whispered it's over in our ears? How many times have we gone through things where we felt like it was over and we felt like we couldn't go another step, take another breath, live another second?
Mm-hmm.
And then God steps in.
He stepped in and said, I'm going to give you this second chance, but
Yeah.
this is what it's going to consist of. You
Wow.
not only are you going to live a healthy life, you're going to help others live a healthy life too.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, I can do that, God, no problem. So from 2018 to now, I lead walks all throughout the city to
Amen.
help women or, well, just families to get moving and get healthy. One of the biggest things that I hear is that I want to get healthy, but I don't have nobody to exercise with. So through the ladies, Rhonda Bayless and the ladies over at Flanner House, we got a program, Sisters Together, Move Better, Eat Better. Um, and we do a monthly walk at
Uh-huh.
different sides of town. Last month I was far east at German Church Park.
Uh-huh.
This Saturday I'll be at Garfield Park, and it's
Okay.
just to provide that encouragement and that support to whoever wants it, whoever wants us to get moving and get to a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And
Just to
not
pin that
only
in our lives so people can join that move. That is so powerful. And it really causes me to think because if listen, I'm saying that you were in a coma on your way out of here.
Mhm.
Now there are, and you've been through so much. There are a
Mhm.
million words God could have given. There are a million things that He could have spoken to you. The thing that He told you was to live right, eat right, live a healthier life.
Have a healthy life.
Means that it matters. Our temple, our bodies are the temple of God. And that is telling me that our health matters to God. That is a
Yes.
message. That is a huge message because He could have spoken anything. He could have talked about salvation. He could have talked about winning souls. He could have told you anything, but He said live a healthier life and then draw and compel others to come with you so that
Mhm.
they can have a long life, live a long life. That is huge to me.
That's
I want people to be able to join in that because that is just I'm literally blown away that was the word. Those were the words that God gave you. You know that
yeah.
spoke to you. So it does matter how we live and how we treat our temples. So I want you to talk a little bit more about that, and also tell us about your book. You have a book.
Okay. Yes, I have a book that I co-wrote with five other beautiful women called "I Survived Suicide," and it just talks about some other women's stories, my story, and it we also have like a support group to anybody that is going through having those thoughts or those ideations. But it started off as five beautiful women sharing their story and their testimony of how they survived, actual attempts. I think that there's somebody that drunk chemicals like bleach cleaner. There was myself, they used glass. There was somebody I think that tried to use a gun. But then one of the young ladies that started out on the journey with us, she actually had an attempt during the process of the book being written and coming out, and she did not survive her last attempt. So she actually succumbed to suicide. And so we are doing this book and this whole movement in her memory, but not only in her memory, just to provide that support and to let you know that you're not alone. Because so many times when you get to that space, you think that this is just me. I'm the only one going through this, or I'm different. And actually, you'll be more shocked to know that so many people struggle or have visited this place at some point in time in their life. And
Yeah.
it's not uncommon. It's more common than
It is
uncommon
more
these
common than
days.
uncommon. More people have experienced it than not. And the person that you're talking about was a good friend of mine, and it amazes me. To those that are watching, we had no idea this was the same person until right before we started the live. I was sharing that this show was in memory of my friend Melanie Franklin, who committed suicide, and it's the same person. I just couldn't believe it. But suicide doesn't just affect you. It lives after you. It affects your children. It affects your loved ones.
Yes.
It's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing, and it's unnecessary. There's
There's,
so many ways out of
there's
it.
so many ways out. And right now, on the um, on the onset in the wake of this COVID
Yeah,
stuff, and
yeah,
people are being forced to be separated from people, that is having a whole nother spin
yeah,
on people's mental health and their psyche,
absolutely.
and that whole feeling alone and isolated,
Yeah,
and just trying to even understand what this whole COVID and how
yeah,
this all of it.
yeah.
So that is, another thing that has heightened the numbers in suicide, just in the last year. Not only that, suicide is in the Black community. And I
Yeah.
know that this is not just a Black
Everywhere.
show, but
Yes.
in these Black and Brown
Yeah.
communities,
Yeah.
suicide is here. What we have been accustomed to saying, oh, we don't do that. That ain't what we do. Oh, yeah, it is.
It
It
is.
is.
It
And
is.
especially amongst our Black men.
Yes.
So we need to really, really, you know, take heed to that,
Yeah.
and just be mindful how we are peopling.
Yeah.
How we people. Just be mindful how we people.
That is
You know,
so good. Be mindful. Woo, I love that. How we are people. And I just made a post this morning about, how we treat each other, really specifically gays. And if you guys have questions and comments, please continue to post them. If you have questions, go ahead and get them in now. Post them now so that we can answer them. But specifically gays, I've just seen a lot of hate towards gay people recently. And I just made a post this morning talking about that. Just it's the respect level. You can believe what you want to believe. You can think it's a sin or you cannot think it's a sin, along with everything else under the sun. But you have to treat people with respect. And that goes to exactly what you're saying. How are we peopling? How are we treating each other? What are we doing to one another? Because sadly, that is a community that suffers a lot of loss to suicide. And it needs to stop. It's unfair. And I mean, suicide on any level with anybody is not acceptable. It's just not, because we shouldn't contribute to someone's downfall.
Yes. So and it's 100% preventable. All people want to do is feel supported.
That's it.
Is feel supported and love.
Heard. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's it.
When I
so that's a little bit of my story, y'all. That's a little bit of my story. If you guys, thank you. Thank you so much for having this platform, for letting me share. Because I've been hearing so many rumors. Facebook. This is a whole new era. This whole internet stuff is a whole new era, and it's so many rumors. Well, she did this and she did that. So I just wanted to come on here to set the record straight. It wasn't really nothing that I did at all. It was all the things that God did. And I'm just, I think that he just wanted me to get people healthy, help people to get healthy, but really just allow his light to shine through me, because I'm a whole different person than I was in 2017.
Absolutely.
Y'all think y'all sitting up here talking to Danielle Norris, and it's really God just talking through me. I'm just a vessel.
That is it.
I'm just a vessel. So that's it. That's my story.
For people who have had gastric and had complications, or even if it wasn't gastric, whatever it was, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter. And if people are talking, just let them talk. But it would have been okay if that would have been your story. It would have been okay.
They said that I've been using, that I was on drugs, and I don't even do drugs. I tried to do an edible, and I can't even do that. So I don't even do that. They said I was on drugs. They said that I stressed myself out from that heartbreak. That heartbreak was stressful. They said that the death of my grandson almost killed me, which all that stuff.
That's a hard thing to go through.
All of that stuff was very, very hard, but just to know it did not kill me. I survived the heartbreak. I survived the death of my grandson. I've survived sexual trauma. I survived just about everything. So it's nothing.
As politely as possible, we'll say to all those people who are talking, shut up.
Shut up. Mind your business.
Something because I experience this daily. People have all manner of things to say about me, and some of them are true. Okay,
yes.
Others are not, and I just don't care. I have learned to live. I was delivered from people's opinion, and I have learned to live in my own life and walk in my own shoes and be who I am unapologetically.
All right.
I see you obviously have too. So
yes.
I'm grateful for people who just like to, because things like this, stories like this, times like this, when people like you come on the show and talk about it, it just shuts the enemy's mouth. You can't say nothing now, because let me tell you this, whatever you thought, and even if it was true, if God thought enough about you to bring you from death to life, let me get ghetto. What do you think what you saying gonna do to me? If God himself, the Almighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, the I am that I am, the one, the only true and living God, the Waymaker, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nissi, my provider, my healer, Jehovah Rapha, if he said, get up from death, what do you think you gonna do to me?
And that's the thing. And that's where I'm at right now.
Mouths are shut. So I commend you. I thank you so much. Your story has inspired me so much. I'm just so blown away. And I have a testimony as well, which I'm not going to get into, but I have a testimony that is very similar to yours as far as being on life support and
Mhm.
dying, having experience, talking and seeing God and
Mhm.
that. So I do relate to you, but I get this response from people when I tell my testimony. I hear people say, "Oh my God, I'm blown away." So now I understand.
Yes.
I am blown away. You are literally a living, walking miracle. So I just say thank you so much. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for living through your trauma, and then for not just surviving but rehabilitating. You don't look like what you've been through. You look better than the perfect scenario.
Oh, wow.
Like
Thank you.
God has really shined on you, and
Yes.
I'm grateful for your story today of survival. And I know that a lot of people are going to be touched by this. So thank you so much for
Yes.
this. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a guest. And
Thank you.
everybody, please, yes, Gina, he is the living God. Period.
Indeed. Indeed.
So, yeah, again, thank you so much. I really hope that everybody will go out and purchase your book. Please tell us again how we can get your book, how we can support.
You can feel free. I'm on Facebook, Danielle Norris on Facebook. I think it's Norris Danielle on Instagram.
Okay.
But there is a whole movement, I Survived Suicide movement. The book is on the Amazon platform.
Okay.
But we are going to be doing a book promo stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks. So just watch the page. Look for the I Survived Suicide logo because it's going to be all over the place.
Yes.
Jacque is awesome at
Yeah.
publicity and getting the word out. So it's going to be something to be talked about and something to be shared. So yes, please, please, please support, support, support.
Yes. Thank you, Christina Green. I was getting ready to talk about you next too. So again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing what you did today. It is Whew, it has been such a blessing to me, and I know it'll be a blessing to others. And especially the point of suicide. It's so important. Just expressing that, of course, that's really dear and near to my heart because of Melanie. But suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S.
Yes,
And every 11 minutes, someone commits suicide.
yes,
And just in 2019, over 47,000 people died from suicide.
yes,
So it's serious, and if anybody out there, if you or a loved one has had any thoughts about suicide, please reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's so important. The number is right there, 800-273-8255. Again, 800-273-TALK, or you can visit their website at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Please reach out. You will be anonymous. You will be safe. Suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. It does
yes.
not have to be. So, again, thank you. And thank you to the viewers. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing. Next week's show, woo, y'all don't want to miss it. We're taking it up another notch. We have Christina Green, who has survived so much. We summed it up and said she survived the truth, but what she survived was the truth of what she has experienced in life. She sold drugs. I don't want to get into all of it, but it is so big and so deep. I really want you guys to tune in next week and see what her testimony it is, because it's going to be powerful. And we want to hear from you. What have you survived? We want to hear from you and know your story and what you've gone through, because so many of you have gone through things that we all have experienced or are experiencing, and somebody needs to hear your story. So email us at the isurviveshow@gmail.com. Again, it's the isurviveshow@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to C-LifeTV Productions, Christopher Green. Thank you, who is an amazing executive producer. I really appreciate you guys for joining today, and we will see you next week. God bless.